Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to talk to you guys about the brand new record from While She Sleeps, So What? Out March 1st on Sleep Brothers and Spine Farm Records. This album has 11 tracks and it's 48 minutes in length. The first time I sat down to listen to this record, it was clear to me that this record is going to be defined by three key elements, three key factors, if you will. Guitars, vocals, and sound experience. I want to really go into each single one of these so you can understand better where I'm coming from. But to me, it was a logical way of starting this review by mentioning this, because it really felt to me that these three components really determine the life, the sound, the experience, the structure of the overall record. As far as guitars are concerned, I really felt that the sound of the guitars on this record was very eclectic. There was a mix of several different genres. They didn't go just with one style, the more perhaps metalcore traditional sound. They just incorporated a lot of different styles, a lot of different styling sounds into the way their guitars sound on this record. What this does is it creates an album that's very eclectic, that's very different, and that's very dynamic. And that doesn't take you in a single path guitar-wise. It just allows the band to do different things with different tracks and really experiment with their sound and their approach to each single song and how they want their guitars to sound specifically within that song, so they can blend well with the drums, so they can blend well with the vocals, and they can connect with the lyrics. By doing this, you really break the boundaries. You really have no structure holding you back to stop you from doing whatever you feel is necessary in order to make this song better. That is a key element of this record. Vocally, I really enjoy what they did. They just threw everything at you. You have clean vocals, you have harsh vocals, you have choirs, you have electronic sounding vocals, you have layering of vocal tracks that give certain parts of certain songs a little bit more emphasis, to give it a little bit more strength, to give it a little bit more thickness. So they really threw everything at you as far as vocal styles are concerned, and as far as what you can do with those styles within single tracks. Once again, as the guitars, by doing this, you really break all boundaries. You're really allowed to do a lot more with the songs, and specifically, you're allowed to do a lot more with the lyrics of those songs. You just feel like you can do different things. You can bring almost, in certain tracks, I really felt, by incorporating things like the choir, for example, they really brought the live atmosphere of a While She Sleeps concert to the studio, into the record. To me, that's key, because this is a band that I really enjoy watching live. They're a killer live band, and if anytime you can incorporate elements from your live performances into your studio performance, to me, that's a winning formula. And I believe they did that with how they decided to go with the tracks, with the vocal tracks, by changing them around, by incorporating different things, by throwing a little bit of more layering of those tracks. They were really able to bring that live feel to the studio. Really well done on their part. Last but not least, the sound. I said the sound experience was one of the key components. I really feel this way about it because sound-wise, the record really had a very eclectic sound. When you think about it, if the guitar sound is very eclectic in nature, if they have all of these different layers to their vocal performance on this specific record, it's only the logical step that the overall sound of the record is also going to sound very eclectic. And that's what this album has a very different, distinct sound, distinct approach to the songs. I felt that some songs were so dynamic, with you're going in one direction, then changing direction midstream through the song, taking you into a whole completely new path, bringing you back to that start of the song that was more dynamic, more robust, if you will. It really gave the album a unique life and a unique sounding experience. Once you add to that a very electronic sound, I really feel that this record from them has a very deep layer of electronic atmosphere sound to it. They really incorporated a lot of that into it. They incorporated it sometimes into the vocals, but it was really predominant in the overall sound, that you just feel like there's this electronic new wave underlined to the whole record. What that does, once again, is it creates an album that's very dynamic in structure and that has songs that really change on the dime. They change the way they sound, they change the way they feel, they change their speed, their dynamic. Everything changes about it, and that is part of all of these moving pieces that they put together into this record. So overall, the end result, if you will, is a very eclectic and sound album with a very underlying electronic sound to it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really different. was very experimental, if you will. It almost felt to me that they know what their sound is, but they want to try new things to take their sound to a whole new level, to take their music the next step. They want to be ahead of the curve and not just be one of those bands that follows what the common trend is. That was obvious to me on this record. It really felt to me that they were really trying to push the envelope, try new things, see what worked, and went with it. They were not afraid of trying different styles, different approaches, including different sounds, different styles and vocals to really create something different, something new, something that the band has never done before. And from a listening perspective, when you pick up a record from a band, that's what you want. You want something that has the band's DNA, has the band's sound, their core structure, if you will, but offers something new. Because if you wanted to listen to something old, you would have listened to the old albums, not to the new album. At least that's how I feel about it. As far as songs are concerned, I'm going to stay away from the singles because I want to give you guys a little bit of information on some of the tracks that are not out yet. I'm going to start with So What. This song has a very mellow start to it until some of the harsh vocals kick in, and then it's one of those songs that just turns on the dial. You just don't see it happening. It really has a really cool, mellow start, and then the guitars change, the vocals change, everything changes. It has a lot of grooviness and melody to the guitars. This song has a really cool accent, if you will, to the guitar sounds to it. I really like it. It's one of those that has a wide range of sounding guitars within the same track. You have more of a groovy style at certain points, more of an electronic style at other points, more of a more melodic, pure, mellow, metalcore sound in other parts of the song. It's just a song that sound-wise, guitar-wise, really offers a wide range of sounds and a wide range of structures. And it really keeps you on your toes, and it never allows you to feel comfortable because it's constantly changing, it's constantly moving. Vocally, I really enjoy the vocal tracks on this song. I enjoy the layers that they added to it. It really added a live vibe to it. And that to me was really important, specifically with the addition of the choir sound. It almost sounds like there's a choir on the track. And this, what it does to the song specifically, it does what I mentioned earlier. It brings that live setting, that live feel into the studio. Because the song, now it doesn't sound like just something that was recorded in the studio. For those of you that have been to While She Sleeps concerts, it sounds like something you would get in a live setting. To me, that's really important for a band like While She Sleeps. They have a very unique sound and they have a very good live performance, live stage performance. So I really feel it's important for them to try to incorporate the energy that they give the songs in the live setting into their studio. This one is a perfect example of that, and I think in a large part is due to how the vocal tracks were used on this specific song, how they were layered, how they were put together. It really gave the song the sense of a live song, not a studio song. Another track that I wanted to mention is Elephant. To me, this is my favorite track on the record. I like the build up to this track. It's a track that it's full of energy. It really has also that same live performance energy that it's brought into the studio. Not to the same degree necessarily as So What, but it's still there. There are still some reminiscences of that same style, of that same DNA in the track. The song is it has a fast, heavy style to it. It does pump the brakes, specifically around the pre-chorus and the chorus. It does slow down a little bit, but that slow down, it's only temporary because there's aggression right around the corner. This is a song to me that just always feels like it's running away from you. It just has that sort of style. It's one of the tracks that to me is an absolute banger because of the style of the song, how they put this song together, starting it heavy with a fast tempo to it, slowing down every single time it hits the pre-chorus into the chorus, but very slight. It just slows down very slightly, almost as it picks up momentum to get it started all over again. And then the heaviness, the aggression, everything comes out. I love the vocals on this song. I love the way they were delivered because they really helped emphasize the aggression that the music brought to the table. The vocal delivery really helped that. They both worked hand in hand to really create a song that I feel is perhaps one of the more aggressive songs on this record. Elephant is my absolute favorite track on the album. Last but not least, back of my mind, a heavy, fast, groovy. I mean, that is pretty much the DNA of this song. It's really a blend of styles, of musical styles that they were able to put it all together, incorporate it into one single song. Sure, there are some slower moments, but overall, this is a song that always feels, even in their slower portions, that always feels like it's revving up and building up to a much heavier and faster part of the song. The guitars on this song are absolutely on point. The change in melody between the more slower and heavier parts is really key to emphasize that change in dynamics that the song has to offer. The melodic chorus is absolutely beautiful. I really like the sound, not only of the vocals in that chorus, but also of the guitar melody in that chorus. But this is a song that's really structured to feel like it's always building towards something, that it's ready to erupt at any given moment. So it gives you a sense of you chasing something, of you going towards an end result. It's a song that's really built around those kind of ideas, that kind of a structure, but the melodies of the guitars and how it changes from one more melodic sense to a more heavier sense, it's a really key factor when you put that together with the vocal delivery and how that also changes depending on the momentum of the song. These two things, when you put these two things together, you really create a song that has a lot of life, that breathes a lot of life into the record. And this song comes towards the middle end of the record, so it's almost like a reboot, if you will. Once you're listening to the record from song 1 to song 11, it kind of feels like it gives the album another boost. It gives the album a sense of energy to finish off the record on a strong note. This is it for me. This is While She Sleeps, So What, out March 1st on Sleep Brothers Spinefarm Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the record, on your favorite songs. What are your thoughts? What do you think? What's your favorite tune? Let me know. The comment section below is there for that, so leave your thoughts there. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.